Christmas boxes made on a 3D printer. I wonder what's inside. Let's take a peek. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. It is vlog number 435 for December the 15th, 2025. 10 more sleeps to Christmas Day. Yeah. And are you ready? Everybody says that this time of the year, don't they? Are you ready for Christmas? Are you ready for Christmas? I like to say, no, I'm not. Christmas when? What's that? Yeah, never goes over well. Okay, let's take a look at what I've been working on. So this was a panel. You've seen the panel before. I showed it to you a couple of months ago, probably. It's called Sunny in the Sunflowers. And I went to Walter's in-person sew day on Saturday. And this is when I created this. It is very, very simple. Nothing to it whatsoever, as you can see. But I really liked the panel. And so that's why I did it. I don't usually do panels, but I did it. So now I've got to get it onto Lucy, get it quilted, and then put it into a bag and put it away and forget all about it forever. Yeah, that's how it works for me. I'll say more about this tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter, and I'll also say more about this tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. Just to say right now that this is an orphan block quilt, and all of these blocks have mistakes in them, and that's why they were orphaned. I throw them in a big box, and then someday I do this with it. And again, I will talk a little bit more about the ins and outs of doing this kind of thing, because it's not quite as straightforward as you might think, but I will talk about that again tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And this, my opus quilt, as I like to call it. This is Stormy Sea. You've heard me talk about it for weeks now, and it has come back from the long armor at Quilter Quilting. They did a fantastic job on the quilt. I am very pleased with it, and it's on our bed, and our bed is a queen size. The way this picture looks, because of the angle I took it at, it looks like a single almost, but it's not. It is queen size, and the quilt drapes very nicely on it, and I will talk all about that tomorrow as well. And I don't think I don't have anything else to show you that I've been working on, but you know me, I'm always working on something, including 3D prints, and later in today's show I will talk a little bit more detail about a couple of exciting things that I've finished up there as well. But for now, let's take a look at the YouTube channel of the week. And you know, I like AI. Yes, there are factors to be considered. AI in our world is taking over. And if you've ever seen the Terminator movies, it is kind of scary. However, there's a lot of benefits to using AI as well. And I mean, the verdict is still out, or that's not the term. The jury is still out on, is AI going to do massively great things for mankind, humankind, or is it going to be a major, major problem? Well, I think you can say yes on both sides of that issue right now. But for me, I feel it's not going to go away. Well, I don't feel, I know anything in, the modern age in technology doesn't really go away. It may change, but it doesn't go away. It is here to stay. And we can do all we want to fight against it, but we're going to lose that battle. So best to take control of it and use it in our favor. And that's exactly what YouTube is providing for us content creators right now. They have AI generated content for content creators. Now, before you say, well, what? Excuse me, they're creating fake news and stuff like that. Yes, it can be used for evil purposes. But the way I think YouTube intended for us creators to use it was to help us with the content in our videos. It helps us to generate ideas. So this is a new feature on YouTube, and I thought I'd give it a try. And yeah, I see a great deal of potential in this as a content creator. But here's what I'm talking about. This is something I just discovered as a feature on YouTube for content creators. Now, there's a lot of discussion these days about AI and AI generated content, figures, music, all kinds of things like that. Well, of course, YouTube has gotten on the bandwagon, and I don't think it's a bad thing. So when I discovered this feature, I just tried it out, and I think it has a great deal of potential, and I want to show it to you. So first of all, let me say that when you're a content creator, it takes a lot of planning, a lot of thought. You don't know what your audience may necessarily be more in tune with. You don't know what's going to generate new subscribers or at least maintain the ones that you have. So you're constantly having a fight inside yourself about what do I put out there, what don't I put out there. And this all takes a lot of time. So this particular feature in YouTube is definitely something that's going to help with that. And I'm going to show you how it works. So there's a little symbol up here at the top of the screen. It says Ask Studio, and I click on that, and it comes up with some different things. So first of all, it gives you a suggested title for something, and then a concept, and tells you why it works. So let's put in something like, I want to clear this off. I'm not sure how to do this. Let me see. Clear history. Here we go. I'm going to clear the history. So you see this initially. Hello, the Idiot Quilter. How can I help you? How can Ask Studio help me? Summarize comments, suggest new video ideas, summarize my channel performance. Well, let's go in to suggest new video ideas. So suggest new, I'm going to put in content and just see what I get from that. So it sits here and it analyzes my channel and past topics that I have dealt with and things that have been said there. And it's basically doing a search to see what is relevant to my particular audience. So let's see, it takes it a little bit of time. There we go. And it says, hello, I'm Ask Studio, your AI creative partner, and I'd be happy to help you brainstorm new content for the Idiot Quilter. Your channel has a strong foundation built on honest opinions, educational content, and engaging interviews. Your audience loves the candid, so chatty discussions and your detailed, no-holds-barred reviews. Based on an analysis of your top-performing videos from the last 90 days and the latest comments, here are 3 high-potential content suggestions. In-depth long arm quilting focus, and here it talks about why this is a good idea. It says suggested content, an honest look at long arm quilting, how I choose designs on Lucy. They talk about the format style, and they explain why this particular topic would maybe be appropriate for my audience. And it has other suggestions, product review series expansion, and again it gives you these 3 things. They give us suggested content, the format of it, and why it works. So Chatty, discussion on stash management. And it goes on. Now, I can go in and be more detailed. I could take one of these topics and explore it even further using AI. So I thought I'd show you this because I do intend, when I get stymied for an idea for my videos, I think I will use this as a brainstorming tool. Now, it doesn't replace my ability to manipulate the information in whatever format or way that I see fit to suit my particular brand. But this is definitely, I think, a very valuable aid, and I'm going to turn to it a little bit more often in the future. So I thought I'd share that with you. Now, will I be using that all the time? No, I won't be. It's just a tool. You collect tools in your lifetime to help you with your productivity, and that's just a productivity tool that I may use here or there or when I feel it's appropriate. Okay, so if you're interested in that video, looking at it in more detail, well, actually, there isn't a video for that, although that's not true. I'm sure if you did a search on YouTube, you would find something. The only reason I say there isn't really a specific video for it for the average subscriber is because this hasn't been rolled out for subscribers. This has been rolled out for content creators, so we're the ones that have access to it. But I'm sure you can go in, do a search in Google or in YouTube, and you'll find videos that talk about this as well. It's not a deep, dark secret or anything like that. So, yeah, you're not going to find a link for that I explained to you a moment ago in my show notes. But you will find a link for the Idiot Quilter pop-up sew day that's coming up this Saturday, December the 20th. I open up the virtual doors because it is a Zoom at 8 a.m. and we go until about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So if you're still working on those last-minute Christmas gifts and you need some time to yourself to get things done, this is a golden opportunity for that. And another golden opportunity is sewing with me on Wednesdays. That is still happening in spite of it being Christmas season. But having said that, it's always on Wednesdays and it always starts around 9 o'clock at a.m. Eastern Time. And we run till about 4 p.m. But it's come and go as you please. So is the pop-up sew day, if I didn't already say that. They're both Zooms, so the link is in the show notes for both of those events. And just a note, I do them every Wednesday, but this will be the last Wednesday for a couple of weeks because the Wednesday in a week's time falls on Christmas Eve, and I am having a special Christmas Eve social event for a couple of hours starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. The link for that will be provided in the show notes for everything I put up next week. Before then, actually, I'll probably start putting the link up for that come this Friday on So Chatty. So yeah, all are welcome. Come, bring your favorite drink, bring your favorite Christmas snack, bring your festive mood. We'll play a few games, we'll look at a couple of fun videos, and we'll talk, about each other and see what your plans are for Christmas. And this is an opportunity just to be social at a time of the year when we should be very social and festive. So that'll be Christmas Eve. So in order to get ready for that and to get ready for Christmas Day, because as you know, I have my family all coming here on Christmas Day, we need the 24th of December, Walter and I, to get things together. So no sewing with Stephen on December the 24th, but there will be a sewing with Stephen this coming Wednesday, which is December the 17th. Yes. Now, the week after that, again, the Wednesday falls on New Year's Eve day. And although we don't have any specific plans for New Year's Eve, I am running a pop-up sew day the next day on New Year's Day. So I thought, no, we'll give it a break. People have to recover from their Christmas events and before they go to a pop-up sew day on the first day of the new year. So all of the links for all of these things will be in my show notes next week, okay? But for this week, there's a link for Stephen, Sewing with Stephen, and there's a link for the pop-up sew day on December the 20th, this coming Saturday. That's a lot to tell you right there. And there are other useful, interesting links in the show notes, including links for 3 MSQC unboxings that Walter and I have done. We're about to release, well, we have released it by the time you have seen this, the one for days 11 to 15, December the 11th to the 15th, because today's the 15th of December. So that one is up and available now. And it seems that you are enjoying our take on the Missouri Star Quilt Advent Christmas box. And thank you for your nice comments about things, too. I figured I was going to get hate mail because of some of the things we say. Well, there's still time for that, isn't there? Okay, and there's links to last week's videos. Okay, let's take a look at what's happening outside. And here we go. Don't worry, the blue tinge is just from our Christmas lights. But you can see it's snowy. And there's more snow in the forecast. In fact, it says snow is expected to start in 15 minutes and last for 38 minutes. They get that down pretty pat, don't they? I don't think it snowed in the night. Doesn't look like it because our walkway is still relatively clear. It may be a little bit of a dusting. Yes, it's Canada. It is December. It is, well, we're still in the fall. Technically we're still in fall. We don't go until this coming Sunday into the winter solstice. So, yeah. And we here where we live, not all of Canada, but in southern Ontario, in our area just outside of Toronto, on Lake Ontario, we, in the last well, quite a few years now, don't usually see this much snow before Christmas. Yeah. All those myths you've heard about Canada. Yeah. But it looks like we could have, unless the weather changes drastically, we'll see here in a second, and warms way up and starts to rain, looks like we're going to have a white Christmas. And that, for us, I know this sounds weird, but where I live is somewhat unusual. Usually it's kind of greenish. I'm not complaining because I like snow at Christmas, but then, on Boxing Day it can all melt. But anyways, the current temperature is minus 12 degrees C. Not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. I guess it's roughly 6 Fahrenheit, something like that. I don't know. I'm sure you fact finders out there will go in and find out what the equivalent is, and be sure to put it in comments below to tell me that I'm wrong. People seem to like to do that. That's okay. Broad shoulders. And I'm just looking here, and let's see what else is forecast. The high today is going to be minus 4. Well, that's balmy. Shorts weather. And during the week, do we have any snow in the forecast? Well, we've got something, but it's precipitation. Almost said participation. On Thursday, 90% chance. And it's going to be 5 degrees. That could be what I was speaking of before. Rain. I hate rain on snow. I really do. And then on Friday, 85% chance, and it's at 5 as well. So the temperature, excuse me, right now, today, is the coldest with a high of minus 4. Tomorrow, we're going to 1, then 3, 5, 5, 1, 2, and then next Monday, it drops again to minus 4, but then Tuesday bounces up to 3. So we're all over the board on this, and heaven only knows what this could bring us. It could bring us snow. It could bring us rain. I have mixed feelings about either. I mean, rain on snow makes everything sloppy and disgusting looking. And then it freezes at night, and then we have ice. And then it unfreezes and gets wet again, then it freezes again. And this cycle goes on and on and on. And it becomes treacherous when you want to go out for a walk. So I wanted to talk a little bit on today on what's pissing me off is talking about slippery sidewalks. Yes, it is the cold season. Yes, ice and snow form. And yes, those two elements are very slippery. Got that. But what would really make it helpful for those of us who go out for a walk every day is if people would clean off their sidewalks. You've heard me talk about this before, but the other day I was out for a walk, as I do every morning. Some spots are bare to the concrete. People got out there early when it was snowing. Like Walter's one of those people. As soon as a snowflake hits the ground, he's out there shoveling it away. And, it's a pain in the butt to have to do that. And I'm happy I have a servant that does it for me. But not everybody's as fortunate as me. I am being a little facetious, but I'm also being fairly truthful. Yeah, I don't shovel. Walter does it. He likes it doing it. He considers it exercise, and he gets out there with his shovel, and he's very conscientious that the sidewalk in front of our house, and many times the neighbors on either side of us, are clear. If he gets out there first, he often will clear their part of the sidewalk too. Okay? Which is nice of him to do that. But they return the favor too, if they're out there. But there's a lot of people in our neighborhood that aren't so conscientious about things, and they just let it pile up. Now, we do have a few places that look like the people have gone away. Maybe they're snowbirds traders. I don't know, or hopefully they're not gone down to the United States. If they're snowbird-like people, they've gone to some other warmer climate, in the Caribbean or, warmer parts of Europe or something like that, if that's what they're away. But because they're away, they have not arranged, by the looks of things, for someone to come, a local kid or whatever, to shovel off their sidewalk anyways, or their driveway. And this is how I know they're away, because their driveway has a lot of snow in it. And nobody is plowing their car. Well, that's not true. I see some people just plow their car through and kind of make permanent tire tracks in the snow, and that's what they drive in on and drive out of all the time. Now, I was going to say, can you call those people lazy? Yes, you can. However, they could be an elderly couple, or it could be an elderly person living on his or her own. And maybe by medical, they have medical problems, they can't get out there and do it. They should hire somebody to do it then in that case. However, on the other side of the coin is you don't know what their financial situation is, and maybe they just can't afford that. Well, maybe they could get a family member, a grandchild or something like that to drop over after a snowfall and clean it out for them. But then again, maybe their family doesn't live in the area, maybe far away, or they don't have grandchildren or children or whatever. So there's a whole bunch of unknowns there. So before I attack people saying, you should get out there right as soon as the first snowflake falls and clean that driveway off to bear to the concrete, or if not lower. So there are circumstances, but I also know there are just lazy people out there too. Well, it's all fun and games until someone breaks a hip, isn't it? And that's what could happen. Now, I never really was that worried about the sidewalk situation was after a snowfall. We do have a service here in the city that comes around, a guy in a little plow that fits on the sidewalk, and he clears everything off. However, we're a big city, and I don't know how many of those things they have, and you don't see them very often. So, yeah, you can't rely on that. The other thing, too, is the bylaws in the city say that if you haven't cleaned the snow off your sidewalk, your part of the sidewalks in front of your house within 24 hours, you can be fined. Now, I don't know how well that's enforced. It's never happened to us, and I don't know too many people that it has happened to that I've heard about. But it does exist. And, there are always some, and I'm sorry for using this name, but you know what I mean when I say it. There are a lot of Karens around these days, aren't there? Karens and Kens. And, they just love to phone up your city and say, they have not cleaned off their sidewalk. It is now 25 hours. And get them all in trouble. I am not one of those people. I'm not going to do that. Because again, I go back to, you don't know what the circumstances are of the individuals, living in that spot. But as a walker, and there are many people in my neighborhood that are older and that like to go for a daily walk, it is treacherous. In some cases, it's almost impassable with the amount of snow and ice. I mean, it's not like a mountain of it, but it is so slippery, and there is such a thing called black ice that you cannot see. It only takes a moment before you find yourself on your back, and who knows, you've fallen, and can you get back up again? That old commercial, I've fallen and I can't get up. It's kind of scary. Nobody wants to be put into the hospital because of a fall. So if you're in a snowy area and you have a house and you have a sidewalk in front of your house, I hope that you are thinking about the people who may be going out for walks, and as a public service to them, and for peace of mind, for their peace of mind, and for your peace of mind for that matter as well, because I'm sure your city or town or whatever probably has some bylaws about snow removal as well. You don't need someone knocking on your door handing you a ticket. And I'm sure nobody really wants to see an older person, or any person for that matter, getting themselves hurt because you did not try your best to keep your sidewalk clear. Just a public safety announcement for everybody. When it snows, clear the roads. Okay, so let's move on, shall we? Grow lights. Well, you've heard me talk. Oh, before I do that though, I have a couple of pictures of the snow this week. It is pretty. It is pretty. So let me find the button. There it is. So this is looking off our deck into the forest behind us, and it is very pretty, this time of the year, especially at Christmas time. I've always said with those trees back there, I would love to have little fairy lights all in them. They're technically not our trees. They're right on our fence line. They belong to the reserve behind us. And of course, you have to run wires to run them. But I think they'd look really pretty with that. So I see that in my imagination, in my mind's eye. And let me just see. I think I've got one. Yeah, there he is. Not the best picture of Walter. This is him with his shovel in hand, cleaning off the snow, looking extremely. I didn't realize how funny this picture was until I see it on my bigger screen. Yeah, poor Walter. That's what people are going to say. Poor Walter. Believe it or not, he likes to shovel the snow. And we have a snow blower as well. He gets that out when the snow gets heavier. And it, you can see this stuff here. I think that one was fairly heavy because when it gets moisture in it, it gets heavy. But anyways, yeah, Nanook of the North. Okay, lettuce. Yes, new crop of lettuce coming up very nicely in both the grow lights, along with a good crop of basil happening here as well. But the bumper crop right now are our kitchen tomatoes, and they're coming on fast and furious. We've been eating a lot of bruschetta lately. They're going into salads. Looking for all kinds of things to do with these little tomatoes. They are cherry tomatoes, but they're called kitchen tomatoes. And this plant that they grow on, the tomato plant, is a bush plant. So that's as high it's going to get. It's not going to get any taller than that. And they seem to love the grow lights. So really thrilled with that. Peppers, well, we've got a few of the darker colored peppers. Those aren't rotting. That's the color they are. They're a deep purple. They kind of put me off. Because I expect red, green, orange, and yellow. Black ones, or they almost look black, kind of put me off. But this was a mixed bag of seeds. Now Walter tried to start some more peppers from the seeds he has, but they don't seem to be germinating for some reason. So we may have to try and find some newer seeds and get those going, because I really like growing the peppers too, because peppers are expensive. However, having said that about the peppers being expensive, they do take a while to grow before you get anything off the plant. So, unlike the tomatoes, they're growing like weeds. So anyways, our indoor garden is doing pretty good. I guess I should call it our indoor salad garden, because most of that stuff we just put in a salad. Yeah. Okay, do I have any others? No, I don't have any others to show you there. So that takes me to new products. Haven't bought a thing. Well, that's not completely true. I did buy some stabilizer and stuff for bag making from Monfil, and some little snips because mine were wearing out, but nothing exciting to write home about on that. But what has been exciting is what I'm doing with my 3D printing, and I finished the Fulv, Fulv. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. But I make a lot of his things. Well, this is the latest one. This is called Santa's Toy Shop, and it is so stinking cute. Went together like a dream. A lot of parts to print. It took, a while to get all the parts made. But the lights in it, and there are lights, and you can sort of see them, but I took this in daylight. So, but in the evening, I have it on a timer. When it lights up, it looks so cute. Love it. Now I have another one, the Tuscan Villa. I've mentioned it before. I put it on hold to do this one. I have all the pieces made for it. I just have to find some time to sit down and start gluing it together, because the gluing process does take a little bit of time too. Not difficult. He designs the parts so well, they fit like a dream together. So that's the beauty of it. And I have my eye on several more of his models, but I'm running out of room for it. Now, will I put this away after Christmas? Oh God, no. This will be up for the entire year. And off to the one side, you can see the Christmas Manor, it's called. That was the very first one I ever made of his designs, and then I got hooked. So the two of them will stay up all year round. Well, shouldn't we have a little Christmas every day? Yeah. I think that's a song or something. I don't know. Okay, so what else have I been 3D printing? Well, for our great nieces, I decided to put together these cute little Santa boxes. And the top comes off, and on the inside, I have filled it with all kinds of little Christmassy sort of 3D printed things. Now, I don't know if this is kind of childish for them because the girls are getting a little older. One just went into high school. She's in grade 9, and the other one's in grade 7. But I don't care. They'll be fun. There's a couple of dragons in there. There's a Santa. There's a gnome. I forget, I put in a keychain thing that looks like a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows, and a couple of other little fidget toy, things like that. It's just something. They're coming here on Christmas Day, and, you know, I want to give them some little thing. So, because we don't usually buy them a Christmas present or anything Christmas, so I thought this is just something unexpected and fun. They can do with it what they wish. And this is, I was talking about the dragon, and you saw him in the box. There he is on the top, all curled up. Here's what he looks like. And I thought I was done making Christmas things. No, I keep seeing cute things like this, but I really like this dragon design because he's made up of like the little hollies and everything that are there. And I thought he was like just fun. And here he is close up. Another look at him. Just too much fun. And I think that's all I got there to show you. I do. Okay. So that takes me to old clips from the past from Stephen and Walter Live when we first started it. And this was where we discuss art versus craft. I have a big problem. When we were volunteering at the art gallery, they considered anything that like paper craft, scrapbooking, art journaling, quilting, like stuff in textiles, you know, as craft. And when they said it, it was like they were spitting like craft kind of a thing because they were all about art. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that shouldn't be a debate. Craft, any form of craft, is a form of art. But here's Walter's and my discussion about that.
I said this is the second worst installation that I've seen since the time that I've been volunteering there. The worst one was this guy who made up an imaginary world and did it all with pencil crayons on paper, and it looked like a 5-year-old had drawn the pictures. And the storyline, it was supposed to be a story about this make-believe area or place, and it sucked. But there was a big to-do about how great this was, and it was traveling to a couple of other art galleries and the whole bit. I didn't get it. So I guess if I had a fine arts degree, maybe I would understand it better. I don't know.
I thought it was a little weird.
Well, a lot of people thought it was weird. In fact, a lot of the docets, like they're all sitting around and everybody was thinking the same thing, but it took one person to mention it and it opened up the wellspring. And I was that person, and I'm usually that person. And I said, well, I don't know about you guys, but I think this sucks. And they're going, damn right it does. Why the hell did they devote 2 parts of the art gallery to this horrible display? I said, exactly. But whatever. The powers that be, you can't say it. And Irie says maybe, she said you could still give them feedback firmly but gently. Yeah, no. They look down their nose. First of all, they look down their nose at anybody who is a crafter, and they use crafter like a swear word here. You know, oh, they're a crafter, you know.
However, a lot of times the displays that they have up are actually of crafts.
Yeah.
The only thing is that the people that are doing the crafts have a little bit bigger of a name.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it becomes art.
You know, like
right? So
3 painted stripes in the National Gallery in Ottawa, $3 million they paid for that many years ago. Wow. Roller on big wood piece panel. Wow.
And it's probably because the guy that did it had a name for himself as being an artist.
Did. I don't remember the name now. It wasn't that big to me, but then again, I didn't know anything back then. Does the art gallery, Nairi says, have feedback forms for visitors?
Not really.
No, really. I haven't seen them. They had, when they switched their CEO over a few years ago, she decided to have a town hall meeting. It was during one of those luncheon, like this volunteer luncheon thing. And we went to that. And she seemed to be genuinely interested in what we thought, and it was mostly volunteers that were at it and things like that, about different things. Well, If anything came out of it, I think it went in one ear out the other, and I think she was just trying to introduce herself to people and make them
Yeah.
think she cared about it. So I don't know. I've had an ongoing war with them about craft and art. As far as I'm concerned, all craft is art. If it's creative, it's art. Quilting is an art. Scrapbooking is an art. Card making, art journaling, mixed media, painting, watercolor, all of that is art. Is it fine art? Well, it depends on how you define fine art. But if you mean fine art in the strictest sense that it's done by the masters and it's been studied by them and people have copied the masters and do that kind of thing and do traditional landscapes and portraits and abstract, then no, crafts are not fine art. But they still deserve to be respected as a form of art. But they don't get that. And they turn you right off. No, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, whatever, maybe I don't. So, Anita says they must have forgotten that the artists who now hang in museums were in their day not appreciated or accepted. Yeah, exactly. Back when the abstract movement started in the 1920s, people poo-pooed it. They said, this is not going anywhere, this is not art, this is a mess, it's scribbles. And people still to this day think abstract art is that. And I have to admit, some of it does look pretty much that way too. But if you've ever tried to do abstract art, it's not easy, really. I know, I tried, failed at it miserably. So, yeah, you're right.
So that takes me to events in the past week. Well, I already mentioned that on Saturday we were at Walter's Sew Day in person, and I think I'm going to go to them regularly because I kind of enjoyed that group as well. It's a small group. There's only 6 of us that were there, but it's mostly guys, 6, so there's 2 ladies, 4 guys, and everybody's working on something a little different. And although I'm the only one working on a quilt, the rest of them are working on anything from, a leather harness, yes, drag costumes, to haute couture outfits, to shirts, to underwear and bathing suits. Yes, one guy's making underwear and men's underwear. And actually, looks pretty damn good, too. Said to Walter, got any interest in making us underwear? He says no. But anyway, so yeah, always have a good time. We had a little kind of a special Christmas celebration. One of the ladies was kind enough she picked up a tray of sandwiches at Costco and a salad and some Christmas goodies, and we had a little Christmas luncheon kind of a thing, which was very, very nice. I don't get out much. So yeah. So I think I'm going to be doing those on a little more regular basis. I know when the next couple are coming up, and that's easy for me then to plan my pop-up sew days around those as well. So I'm not going to stop pop-up sew days for this. No, pop-up sew days are still a priority for me. So that was very nice. That's about all that happened last week. So what's coming up? Well, you already know Pop-Up Sew Day this Saturday, December the 20th. So there'll be, a link for that. Well, there's a link for it right now in the show notes for this today, and it will be there on everything I put up this week. And it's gone out already in email to everybody who's on my mailing list. So that's this Saturday coming. I open up the virtual doors because it's a Zoom. It's not recorded for any of you who've never been on one before. And if you've never been to one before, come. Don't be shy. We have a great time. Yeah, all are welcome. All are welcome. And you can leave anytime you want to as well. Come and go as you please. Okay, I think I've said that several times in this video today. All right, anything else you need to say about that? No. Final note. Well, today I have opened up the next video in the MSQC series that we're doing, the unboxing of their Advent box. And the next one goes live on Saturday, December 20th, on the day of the Pop-Up Sew Day. So we're getting down close to the last bit of the gifts for that. The last one happens on Christmas Day. Okay, so that's it for me today. Tune in tomorrow to the Idiot Quilter episode, and of course on Friday, So Chatty, which I don't know what we're talking about yet. I have to think about that. I'll think about that on my walk as I try not to kill myself on unshoveled sidewalks. Yeah. Okay. Have a good one. See you later. Bye-bye.